Hello, my name is JC. Welcome back to this channel. Today, we're going to study together another marketing law, the law of sacrifice. So let's just get started. Actually, before I talk about the law of sacrifice, there's another law that is related. So let's take a look at that law together. The law is called the law of line extension. So what does this mean? There is an article by Eric Sink, and in this blog post or article, he mentioned the definition of the law of line extension. Let's see here. Okay, so he mentioned the law of line extension says that it is a mistake to take the name of one product and apply it to another. Companies do this often, but it basically never works. We think that the power of the brand will help sell the new product. Instead, the brand itself is tarnished. People start to get confused about what the brand means. Quite often, it is necessary to kill the second product before it causes too much damage to the first one. So the law of line extension means that you don't want to extend your brand or your product line too much to include a lot of other products, because otherwise you lose focus. And in line of this, the similar law, or the next law, is the law of sacrifice. So this is more significant than the law of line extension. The law of sacrifice contains quite a lot of lessons. So let me read the blog post first, and then we can discuss, and I'll share my thoughts on that. The law of sacrifice says that you have to give up something in order to get something. The cool thing about this law is that it is not automatically attractive. It makes you think. The law of focus isn't like that. When people hear about the law of focus, the first reaction is to say, yes, focus is good. People seem to forget the word focus implies a decision about what you are not going to do. With the word sacrifice, that particular implication is much clearer. But in some sense, these two laws are the same idea with different expressions. There is power in focus. But to get there, we have to make tough decisions about what things we will not do. I'll give Sun Microsystem a break today and go back to picking on Borland. Here is a perfect example of a company that can't focus because they're not willing to sacrifice. Their product line is all over the map. The problem with not having a focus is that your customers can only describe you in terms of your past. Borland's excellence endures tagline even reinforces this. It's a fine tagline, but it doesn't say much to me about the future. It's a celebration of their 20 years of history. Borland is a fine company with some great products, but they should be telling us more about their future than their past. In the next 5 years, what one thing Borland will do better than anybody else? The law of sacrifice is all about saying no to opportunities. This skill is incredibly difficult to learn. I suspect that the only way to learn to say no is to experience the pain of saying yes too often. That's how I learned it. Source gear used to be all over the map. We smiled and described that condition with a positive spin, telling ourselves that we were opportunistic. But life inside the company got pretty confusing. We had several product efforts going on, all unrelated. We had a consulting division doing engagements which were not related to any of our products. When someone asked us, what does SourceGear do? It would take 10 minutes to explain. By the time we were done, the elevator had gone back and forth to the lobby 3 times. Our revenue was high, but we had no focus. We were in a strategy which was positive in the short term and negative in the long term. So we sacrificed. We started saying no. At first, it was really hard. People called us for a consulting gig and we turned it down. Even as I write this, it sounds crazy. I said no to money. What was I thinking? It took a while, but things got better, a lot better. Today, SourceGear is a focused company, but to get to this point, we had to stop saying yes to every opportunity we saw. So that's his blog post. And actually, let me share some thoughts here. So before that, actually, his blog post is kind of he added some humor there. Like for example, he's saying their tagline or their marketing message is too long, and the elevator pitch is not really one elevator pitch. It takes like the elevator gone back and forth 3 times to finish the elevator pitch. So that's no good. The law of sacrifice. My thoughts are, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. I have like 3 or 4 points I want to share. The first point is that if you have unrelated product lines, you need to just cut. Product lines should be cohesive. Like, for example, if you have main product and then you have a couple of byproducts, then that's okay. You can do all of them. But if none of the product lines are related, then why not focus on the main product only? For example, by saying byproduct, I mean like if you operate a furniture store, if you operate a furniture company producing furnitures, then you can sell the byproduct like the sawdust. Those are the byproducts you can sell. So you can sell furniture as your main product, and then you can sell sawdust as your byproduct. But for example, for me, if I'm doing digital products, like if I'm doing courses, software consulting, or doing the software programming, those are all kind of related. But if I sell physical goods on Amazon, that's an unrelated business. So that's why for me, I just need to focus on digital products because I'm better at that area, and I have no experience in selling physical products, so I should not sell products on Amazon or eBay. That's not my expertise. So that's point number 1. I cut unrelated product lines. Point number 2. If you're not number 1 or number 2 in the category, then you just need to abandon this product category. There is a story by the Jack Welch. There is a story about Jack Welch. He is the former General Electric GE CEO, and when he managed the GE, when he was the CEO of GE, so he cut all the product lines which were not number 1 or number 2 in their categories. So he only focused on whatever the number 1 and number 2 product lines that could be of the number 1 or number 2 in the category. So that's very extreme focus. So I think for you and me, we should also do the same. If if you cannot see your product line being number 1, or number two in the market, then why not just forget it and then move on, and just to focus on the things that you can make as the best, the number one or number two. So there's a saying as well in this regard. The saying is like, well, I forgot, but basically you have to be the best. You don't try to be the better. You have to be. For me, I think I'm striving for number one. I don't even want to be number two, because who wants to live like in the shadow of number one, right? So number two is no good. That's the second point I have. So just to focus on being the best and being the number one in the category. And then my last point is that looking at the law of line extension, and also combined with the law of sacrifice, my thought is that you don't want to stretch yourself too thin by doing multiple brands. Especially for starting up a business, you want to just focus on one brand, your main brand, and you don't want to focus on other brands. And as your business takes off, then you can do another brand. For example, right now I'm focused on advancedj.com, which is a VIP group and a digital product creation base with Chinese content, and that's what I'm focusing on. I also have an English blog, jchen.blog, but that's not my main focus, but it's related. It's not my main brand, and not to say that I want to cut it off, but I'll not put my main effort in it. I'll put 80% of my effort, at least 80%, into advancedj.com to make it as big as possible, and then I'll focus on 10. I'll have 10 or 20% of the effort on jchen.blog, or other kind of websites or endeavors. So that's my thought for after reading these two laws. Again, it is to say no, and you have to cultivate your habit of saying no often. Eric mentioned the skill is incredibly difficult to learn, and I think it's also incredibly difficult to practice, because when you have money on the table, and then when you have opportunity on the table, you tend to get distracted. So you have to just say, you have to stand firm and then say no to the average opportunities, and then you can have time and effort to say yes to the great and extremely profitable opportunities. All right, so I think that's it for today, and I'm going to share more thoughts, and we can learn marketing laws together, and we'll do that tomorrow then.